Okay, before we start any of the other cells, I'm going to try the thin rod as the positive side, and the larger one will be zinc plated. I have that fine tracing 316 stainless wire on the outside. It measures from that distance all the way down to the bottom, 1.6 ohms, so that's good. I filed out the hole larger on all of them. Just a little file worked. It seems to be a bit crumbly still on the inside. So what will happen, I've got this piece, or the other piece of this, is in the oven heating up to get all the moisture out of it, and I'll weigh it. Then I'll soak it 4 times after like heating it and then soaking it and then heating it again into the zinc hexacyanoferrate. It's settled down, it's been washed. I'll just stir it up so all the particles are floating around before I soak it in there. And I'll do that 4 times. Then I'll do the same, heating it up and sticking it into the nickel hydroxide solution. So that should absorb the stuff. And I'm thinking having the larger zinc will be a better cell run, will have more capacity. I'm thinking, hoping. If not, doesn't matter. These seem to be a bit fragile. They can sort of just crack off anywhere. So what I might end up doing is making a smaller round one like this, and then a larger outer one, sort of, so it will increase the size of the cell but probably be more reliable. And this stuff, it's made of those strands. It's 316. It's not as dear. It seems to wrap around really good and pull up tight with just twisting it. So that was good, that sort of worked out well. So I'll send this off to, I'll mix up some zinc acetate this time instead of zinc sulfate, and see if we can get a better plating. I'll use vinegar and some zinc metal and plate that completely. I'll have to stick some zinc down the middle as an electrode to plate the inside, because probably won't plate it in this like electrolysis like way. So I'll get that going and I'll get back. Okay, I got the electrode out of the oven. It's around about, it's not that hot, it's probably about, I'll put it this way, I can pick it up and it's bearable. So it's weighing in at 14.3 grams. So submerge. Okay, so that should be sucking up some of that zinc hexacyanoferrate nanoparticles with a bit of luck. So I'll do that 3 more times. Then I'll do it in nickel hydroxide, and then I'll wrap the wire around it once it's dried again. Electroplate that one and get a test going. Okay, preparing the zinc plating solution. I have vinegar and some salt and 2 pieces of zinc. It's taken 600 milliamps at 2.6 volts. I'm gonna move it outside. I'll turn it off soon. I got wires going under my test battery, so I'll do it at a later date. Okay, I'm starting to electroplate the inside of the cell. It's just vinegar. I'll put 1 gram of zinc sulfate in the vinegar as well as salt, and a little bit of zinc plate beforehand. And then I thought might as well just stick the zinc in there. I had to turn it down. It was on 1.6 and it was 3 amps pumping through that cell. So it's really good. It smells very sulfury like, so maybe there's some sulfur content in those things. It's very porous. I was watching bubbles come up through the carbon wall. So I'll try to coat that well. I don't know how well it's going to coat. I was hoping for shiny coating, but it probably won't be a bright plating. I don't think it matters too much because of the zinc oxide will plate out onto the cell on the charge cycle. This one's the one with the graphene and the flour mix. I haven't used the corn flour one yet. I was just going to compare these ones. Heated up the electrode, ready for weighing. It's pretty warm, so it should be dry. We're at 14.79 grams. So we're looking at around, it was 14.38, so we're looking at about 0.4 grams of active material in there. I got to drill that little hole down the center, or finish drilling it, and I might stick some powdered nickel hydroxide in the hole as well, because I noticed when I stuck some nickel hydroxide down there, the liquid form, it was seeping out the bottom. So it's like a hollow tube almost. I'd say there's a bit in there. Not a great lot. Only 0.4 of a gram of both that and that. Which has got the most, I don't know. That went in there first, the zinc hexacyanoferrate, so probably mainly that. But you can sort of see it's green tingy and that colour as well. So I'll let that cool down a little bit so I can handle it. Carefully drill the hole. And that's still plating along pretty well. I'll get back. A little strip of zinc is nearly gone. Now consuming 2 amps. And if you look around the outside, you watch those bubbles that go in towards the center there. See them? So I reckon the zinc's actually going through the carbon. It's extremely porous, which we want. The bottom section's plated. That container there was a bit too low, so I'm doing the top part for a bit. I'll give it 15 minutes and then I'll do the outside. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. See how it's bubbling? Crazy like. It's not connected. I didn't see it. That little wire melted through the container. So is that depositing zinc by itself? It's not warm. Little wire's cold. But look. Crazy. Well, is this producing hydrogen maybe by itself? It's pretty violent looking. Right, I'm going to do the outer tube. It's not a great lot of zinc in there. You can sort of see it just around the bottom part. Alright, I'll connect the positive and start doing the outer. The hole was successful. We've got a further 0.3 grams of the nickel hydroxide down that hole. So when I screw that screw in, it should twist it in and hold it all in there with a bit of luck. I'll also wrap some wire around 316. I got some nickel wire coming, but I don't have it in here yet. So it'd probably be best to have the nickel wire on here, but oh well. And I'll attach the wire to the little rod as well here, the screw, which is a 316 stainless. Okay, it was all going fine and I thought I'd try to wrap that wire around the top of that and solder it, but no good. And I broke that much off. So don't play with them too much because they're fragile. Now I've got 6 ohms from the top of that down to the bottom of the carbon, which is acceptable. That thread's a bit loose in that hole for some reason. It's the same drill I used in the other cell, but this stuff's a bit porous more and flakier. So have to relook at doing those center electrodes. Depends on how well this test turns out, which style we go for. Nearly all the way around the outside of this thing. I'm going to do a little bit more in the middle and then soak it in some water and clean it out later, and it should be ready for tomorrow. So I'm a bit disappointed about that. I lost nearly 20 millimeters. I ended up able to stick some more nickel hydroxide powder down in that bolt hole until it got tight. I kept screwing the screw in and then pulling it out and putting some more in there, and it's probably a half a gram in there now, plus what absorbed into it. So fingers crossed I don't damage it anymore. I should lay it down actually. Alright, safe. Okay, something's going on with the zinc plating. You can see it's grey around there. Every time I rotate it, I have the plate out here doing the outside, it turns back to black. So I've been around there about 3 times with a coating like you see down in there. I'll come back in a half hour and we'll watch this side, it will be black again. So even the zinc may be just falling off down there, or it's getting eaten away by the vinegar. So I'll just plate out the center. When that's done, I'll soak it in some fresh water and be done with it. It will plate out anyway on a charge. Stayed there, but that was like that right around there, and even down in the middle where I had it all coated disappeared. I think there's a big pile of grey shit at the bottom. Different. Maybe it's the vinegar because I used zinc sulfate last time and that seemed to work. Nevertheless, I'll rinse it out in some fresh water here. I'll give it a soak overnight and that'll be it. In fresh water. I can't say that's air coming out, oxygen. Okay, it's the next day. I think there's a little bit of zinc. You can sort of see a bit of grey tinge, but not lots. That piece on the outside's disappeared after soaking it overnight in liquid, but there was nothing at the bottom of the jar, so maybe it's gone into the carbon. I think, oh, getting glare there. I think there's a layer of zinc. See where I scraped it with the spoon? So for some reason, it's not sticking to the carbon anymore. It's probably gone in, so we'll try it as it is. The zinc sulfate, the zinc oxide should plate out anyway. I have 6 mole of potassium hydroxide, 3 grams of zinc oxide. I've got that much left to dissolve before I stick the cell in, so I'll give it another stir, get that bit dissolved, and set the cell up ready to go. I'm going to use tracing paper as a separator. Okay, I've got the cell set up. 3 grams of zinc oxide dissolved. I think I'll add some more electrolyte because it's a little bit down there. I've got the positive in the center this time, negative on the outside, and we're about 0.2 volts, so I'll just add some more electrolyte just to top the cell up a bit. Okay, not much happened in the way of voltage movement then. We're going to do 2.6 volts again for the charge cycle. Set the monitoring up. It probably won't run really good on the first charge or 2, maybe 3. Or it may not run at all very well, but we're here to find that out. So connecting now. Alright, we're a little bit low on amps, but the cell's just been sort of drying overnight, so it's probably got water in it. Could have a resistance issue. Oops. Yeah, like that little piece of wire there. Hang on. I'll double up the negative wire. It seems to be too thin in the alligator clip. Oh, that's easier said than done, isn't it? Okay. Alright, I twisted a loop over there. Hopefully that grabs a bit better. Sort of went up a little bit in amperage then. Give it a wobble. Didn't like the wobble, but yeah, we're getting there. Alright, so keep it on charge. There's no bubbling. We could even increase the voltage. It depends all about the resistance and stuff. Of that connection on that positive side is not that great, but the wire should be okay, which is wrapped around and tied up pretty tight on the screw, so it should be conductive. The charger, so 2.6, and on there it's 2.5 and building up, so that's a good sign. It should actually go a little bit past 2.6 volts at fully charged cycle. So fingers crossed, and let's see what we get. I'll probably aim for like 5 hours charging. Not so much nickel hydroxide maybe, because it hasn't gone quite dark yet. It's getting darker. That one went dark within 2 hours of a charge. But that was the outer ring covered completely in nickel hydroxide. I checked the center with one of these, and it is darker than the outside. So maybe the separator's holding it in there. Been on charge now for 5 hours and 30 minutes. I'll give it another half hour. I put up the charge to 3.3 because it wasn't making any bubbles or anything. So now it's sort of crackling. This is where I've disconnected the charge to check the voltage. And it sort of was dropping, so it wasn't looking too great. But it needs a forming charge, I think. Hope, fingers crossed. So I'll get back in a half hour or thereabouts, and we'll see if it actually can do 100 milliamps. I think the original cell didn't do 100 milliamps until about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I kept it at 50 for 20 charges. So yeah, alright, I'll get back. Okay, it's been on charge for 6 hours and it's holding 1.7 volts at the moment. So we'll see if it can actually run 100 milliamps for its first run. Okay, does. Wasn't expecting that. One thing I noticed though, that twisted wire actually heats up a little bit. You can feel it being warm. So the solid wire is much better. It seems to be. We'll see how long it runs. Okay, at the end of the first charge for this cell, it's not very high for a 6-hour run, but the original cell there, that one there didn't start performing until at least 15, where it got 207 milliwatt hours. So I'll keep charging it up and see how it responds and get back. Hopefully it keeps improving. Okay, somewhat down a bit. It's 102 milliwatt hours, but I have here 0.8 grams of zinc powder, so I might try to increase the zinc in the electrolyte by adding that powder down the sides there, and then it will just eventually dissolve and go into it. So I'll do that now, and that will be 3 grams of zinc oxide and 0.8 grams of the zinc powder for the next charge. Not looking good for the cell. I'll keep charging. Trying a 2-hour charge. This is 4th or 5th charge. It's not looking too good, but still early. The other one was producing, that's the 4th charge there, cycle, and that's 144 milliwatt hours. And sort of drops there, goes back up. So this cell's probably underperforming compared to the original one, with the positive ring on the outside. But it still may take a bit of time to form. It's definitely gone much blacker. Either that's hindering it or not. I've ordered some micro pores coveralls, so separator's coming. Gonna try that out. Okay, cell's still down, only 43-minute runtime, 73 milliamp hours and 77 milliwatt hours. So I'll charge it up again, see what happens. Okay, right, I'm a bit concerned about this stranded wire. I turned it up to 3 volts and that instantly got hot to the touch, like it was burning your finger. So this stranded wire, very different to this wire. It seems to be acting like a heater coil for some reason. So I'm not sure if it's touching somewhere inside there between the separator or what, but it's a bit odd. In fact, when I turned it up to 3 volts, it shot over 5 amps and had to restart that app. I thought I blew my data logger. It's only rated at 5 amps maximum. So there's something not right in that cell. I just pulled this out and it doesn't seem to be touching or fraying. So not impressed with the threaded cable, multi-strand cable as the contact. If it keeps failing, I might pull it out of the thing, wash it a bit and replace that wire with the solid core, which it's hard to find that solid core. I haven't found any yet on eBay And it's not giving me any listings for solid core wire 316. Go figure that out. Okay, see how it goes now. I replace that wire with the thicker piece, single strand. Lost that much of the cell. I tightened it up too much and popped it. Doesn't matter. Still pretty much lots of cell left. It's just that little section broke. Actually cut through it, twisting the wire. So I've got it on charge. And we'll see if the wire makes a difference. I think it does because I can't hear it hissing. It was like crackling before. It was very odd, that wire. It was doing something, pretty sure. Okay, cell's been on charge for 2 hours with the solid core wire on the outside. Oh, get the right cell. Alright, starting test. Yeah. Starting test. Oh yeah, looks about the same. Just minus the heat. So it may run better, hopefully. I'm thinking it might. But this cell's a bit weird. It's not the same as the other one. Okay, no improvement in the cell, so I'll give it another charge and check the results.